Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Grammy award-winning legendary jazz bassist Buster Williams. We caught up with him on the last day of January 2022 to talk about navigating COVID, upcoming gigs and projects, and reflecting on his long existence in jazz. Originally from Camden, New Jersey, his father was a jazz musician, and that would be the first show he ever saw live. He would go on to become a legend and work with the jazz giants like Art Blakey, Betty Carter, Carmen McRae, Chet Baker, Jimmy Heath, Hank Jones, Lee Morgan, Hampton Hawes, Sonny Rollins, Count Basie, and that list goes on and on and on, and he has all of the stories to back it up. Enjoy.
Joe Domino with Neon Jazz Radio in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes, how are you?
How are you, sir?
Just fine, thank you.
Cool. Hey, thank you for taking a minute out for the show. I really appreciate it. My first question is kind of the elephant in the room with everything that's going on. How have you been doing since March of 2020 with COVID and kind of keeping the creative juices going?
It's when something doesn't work well, it makes something else work very well. Sort of like, when you don't have your hearing, then your eyes, your touch, and your senses heighten. So the pandemic has spurred me on to other things that I might not have been doing or should have been doing, and it's heightened my awarenesses of things that I definitely should be doing. The only down is the pandemic weight, and I mean I don't mean the weight, I mean the extra pounds.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to work that off, but I'm doing fine.
So what about projects? Have you been working on anything? Is there anything kind of looming coming out in 2022?
Yeah, I got a record that I got to get done. The pandemic has sort of delayed it. I was supposed to be recording in February, and then I was recording in March. Looks like I'm going to do it in April. But all that extra time has given me no excuses for it to be something really good.
That's the other part of this. You're going to be recording here soon. Is there anything else that's opening up for you as the year kind of goes forward that's hopeful as far as like performing and doing anything else related to getting out there and doing the music? Yeah,
well, the European tours are coming back. I'll probably be going to Europe in the summer. So things are gradually opening up, and as they open up, I have more things on my schedule to do. Got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that's the thing about what's going on right now. I'm curious from your standpoint. What do you hope we all realize about the power of live music that we've largely been away from since March of 2020? When we get back, what do you hope we all realize about this that we haven't had and we've missed so badly?
Well, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. Everyone realizes the importance of something that you take for granted once it becomes diminished. I think that the lovers of music are going to be greater lovers of music and new discoveries for some other people. So everything has a positive or a negative effect or result, and it's all up to the way you look at it. I see everything as, I remember when I was a kid that, I heard the saying, some see it, the glass is half empty, some see it as half full. I like to see it as half full.
And I think that's the one thing, too, about what's been going on right now is the jazz community has always been a very tenacious, creative group that's always found a way no matter what adversity has come through. How do you think the jazz community is going to reemerge stronger when things get back to it and everybody kind of gets back out and starts doing their thing, recordings and live music?
Well, one of the things that happened due to the pandemic was this whole thing of streaming. That is something that I think is here to stay. Venues have found a way to reach larger audiences than their 120-seat room. The streaming is going to continue, which means that each performance we have is going to reach a larger audience than it ever did before. The only thing is making sure that we all get paid, accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, at the beginning of your life, how did jazz begin for you? How did you fall in love with this craft, and how did it become what you wanted to dedicate your life to?
Well, the music was alive in my house. My father played bass, he played drums, and he played piano. His musician friends would come over to the house, and there'd be jam sessions, there'd be rehearsals, and he had a very respectful collection of records. And in those days, the records were 78 thick. These records were thick. You dare not drop them on the floor because they'd shatter. But, so the music was around me. It was something that I was brought up with. It wasn't foreign. And for me to choose my career as a musician was not, I didn't see myself doing anything else.
So what was the first live show that you've seen? You've performed with so many cats over the years and created so many memories for fans. What was your first experience seeing jazz live?
I seen my father play. He would when he started teaching me the bass, he would take me on gigs with him. Also, he would take gigs on drums so that he could use me on bass. So I had the visual and the actual performance experiences very early on.
The one thing that's happened in your career is you've been around so many legends and so many amazing musicians, from Art Blakey to Sonny Rollins, Billy Taylor, all the way through this paradigm. And I'm curious, overall, with all of these legends and luminaries, what did you learn from them that you in turn have used to teach younger players that you get around throughout your life?
Well, my experience has been very vast and very rewarding. What I've learned is too much to try and capsulize, except that this music, for me, this music was never a question. It was always something that was part of my life, and I'm really amazed when I see so many young students now coming from environments, and from communities, and from cultures where the music was not such an integral part of their life. It's something that they had to really seek. It says to me how universal this music is. You can come out of a cave and hear this music and have it'll touch your heart and begin a new experience for you. It can easily become natural. It can easily become something that's natural to you. And the thing about this music is it opens your awareness to everything else that you hear. I know, at least it does for me, and it puts everything into a positive light. And I believe that's really because of the respect that I have for this music and the natural adaptation to this music that was my experience. And I think it's some people say, well, jazz is hard to listen to, or I don't understand it. Well, I tell you, great art, you don't have to understand it to enjoy it. I don't care what genre it is. And I find that those who take the time to really allow themselves to be, for their heart, to hear this music, rather than try and understand it through academics or, the confusing element of the brain, really find that they've opened themselves to a great reward.
I agree. So you've maintained a long career. You've been relevant all of these decades. How have you maintained that? What is your key to longevity?
Living. You can't be trapped by yesterday, and you can't be confused by tomorrow. That's always been my way of seeing things. I guess that's the answer to your question. Today is the result of yesterday, and today is going to be the seed or the first step for tomorrow. So I see an importance in every moment. And, saying that, I say that with the realization, my goal and my quest is to stop being a procrastinator. I procrastinate too much. I know the value of time, but it doesn't mean that I always act on what I know. So I'm striving to more consistently act on what I know I should be doing.
You've done quite a bit over your career. You've won a lot of awards, and I'm curious, I don't want to know your favorite one, but what award did you get in your career that just surprised you, threw you for a loop when you got it?
I don't know. I know that it's a documentary, and my documentary called Bass to Infinity, done by Adam Kahn, a filmmaker. It just won the Downbeat Best Documentary Award. And, I don't know. I'm not that affected by, awards. I'm more affected by what I feel when I find myself being able to play a note better on my bass, or being able to write a composition that I really like, or coming off the bandstand after playing a set of music that I can be proud of. That's my rewards and awards.
You get the chance to create music that millions of people love and enjoy. They have for years and years. What do you look forward to the most about being a professional musician, waking up every day? What's the greatest part of this process for you?
To make the day count, how much can I accomplish? I mean, can I really, it goes back to what I said earlier about my tendency to be lazy, or my tendency to procrastinate. So it's always a challenge for me. I remember, hearing Duke Ellington say that someone asked him, how much time does he need, to accomplish, to write a piece or something like that. He says, I don't need time. What I need is a deadline, something to spur you on. And I'm sort of like that. I might look up and look at all of the time that I've wasted, and the deadline that's looming ahead. I would like to get to the point where I have the wisdom and the wherewithal to truly take the advantage of the time that's given to me, and not have to put myself under pressure.
Everyone has a perception or an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you live your life. You have a perception of yourself. Who do you think you are?
Well, I think that's what I've been talking about. I think that's what I've been saying. We have this thing called a mirror. When you look in the mirror, you have to be honest with yourself. Who do you see looking back at you? Or how do you feel about that person that you see looking back at you? Is it honest? Is it something that you're proud to see? Or, are you feeling that you're failing, or you're progressing? I think that's the challenge, to really be honest about what you see, and not so much about what do others see. I hope that others, I value what others see. I see me first, and so I've got to be true to that.
Right on. Buster, thank you for taking a minute out from Neon Jazz today. Good luck as the year opens up and moves forward. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in New York, New Jersey, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Buster for his class, cool, and time. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.